Coming to you live from the Bridget Mabandla Justice College, I'm Ziyanda Ngobo with the weekly roundup of proceedings here at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. And like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives here at this inquiry. But what was not on my bingo cards for 2026 at this probe, no less, was discussions around Ozempic, Brazilian butt lifts, and least not a controversial social media commentator, Musa Khawula. So this week we heard from Witness F, who's the alleged runner for Shedrick Sibia, and we also heard from Brigadier Rachel Majen, who seems to be drunk in love with Vusmuzi Cat Matlala, or is it about his money? More on that and others in a moment. It would seem that Vusmuzi Cat Matlala has had more than one extramarital affair in his lifetime. Well, that's if the testimony of Brigadier Rachel Majen is to be believed.
We then started talking with Cat and ended having a romantic relationship. We had an on and off cycle relationship. Sometimes we will even get a year break from one another without talking to each other.
Majen is the section head of quality management for criminal record and crime scene management at Forensic Services, in the Forensic Services division here in Tshwane. And she's accused of receiving kickbacks for assisting Matlala for getting that now controversial 360 million rands Medicare 24 tender. But she came with a twist, a love affair.
None of the gift nor monies received from him were related to me having an influence to the awarding of the tender or the execution thereof, as I started receiving them from 2017 while being in our on and off relationship. From the inception of our romantic relationship, he will pay money directly into my FNB account, but when he was requesting another bank account, I asked him why another bank account, and he stated the following. He doesn't want the wife to find out about our relationship, the gift and the monies, because she knows me only as a friend. Now that he has a contract with SAPS, he doesn't want it to look like he's paying me for favors and doesn't want the gift to jeopardize my career, as other people might think about it in the wrong way. The account used was for a friend, Mudieri Kakana, who owns a butchery.
But Majen's romance with Matlala was questioned very early on in the proceedings.
As romantically involved people, did you and Mr. Matlala have any terms of endearment like love, babe, hun, etc.?
Yes, Commissioner. I am not a romantic person. I'm not into calling people honey, love, or whatever, but I'll give you a pet name. So for him, I was calling him Mr. V, and from his side, he was calling me Diva. That's how we call each other.
I must say I've gone through all the chats. Well, people differ, but I find it very, very strange that you don't have or you don't use, not at all, any of the usual terms of endearment that some people, if not most people, use. I find it very strange. I've gone through all, from page 3 all the way to the last one at page 49. Not once do you use any term of endearment, except, as you say, you saying Mr. V, and he's saying Diva. Even that Mr. V and that Diva, those are very few. Do you accept that there are very few?
I do accept.
If you go beyond 5, that would be quite a lot, actually. I doubt that you even reach 5. The same with him. Starting from December to, what's the date of the last one? It's the 25th of, it's the 13th of May, 2025. Very few, even of those, the Mr. V and the Diva, very few. Do you wish to comment on that?
Yes, Commissioner. I do accept that in writing there will be very few of that. But when you look at our chairs, most of the time we will be talking through phone.
And Majen denies being involved in trying to manipulate the specifications and tailor them so that Matlala received that 360 million rand tender. In fact, this is despite her having a particular interest in this contract compared to the previous contractor, Metropolitan, which Matlala took over from in June 2024.
I find it hard to believe that an end user won't know that a contract is coming to an end, that there's a new RFQ, because you must know what's in the specifications. And you must know who are the shortlisted people and whether or not they qualify. That's the part you are avoiding. That's why you are telling this commission that your involvement only starts after Mr. Matlala is appointed or after his company is appointed. Because you are avoiding the obvious fact that as an end user, you would have been aware and involved throughout.
Yes, I do not agree, Commissioner, that I became aware of the specification. I didn't know about the specification. I was not even aware of the people that bidded for the contract because it's not within my responsibility.
Now, payments from Matlala to Majen were made through a bank account belonging to Osizweni Butchery, which is owned by the Brigadier's friend, Modiegi Kekana. 300,000 rand landed into this account, and according to Brigadier Diva, this was part of her girlfriend allowance. But Majen claims she never actually got her hands on this money, not even a single cent, because Matlala owed Kekana, and he had owed her for having ordered meat for funerals in the area.
If it was correct that after Modiegi refused to give you the first 100,000 that was sent or received on the 12th of Jan, by this stage, Mr. Matlala would know that you don't get the money when he sends it through this Osizweni meat market. Why would he send the next 100,000 through that same account and send you the proof of payment?
He sent it to Osizweni Butcher to pay his debt. And even on the third one, he was paying the money that he's owing Modiegi. But he will send a proof of payment for me so that I can inform Modiegi that the money has been paid into his account.
So you've just heard Majen saying that Matlala was paying off his debt with that remaining 100,000 rand. But she couldn't answer then why, if that was the case, Matlala continued to forward her the proofs of payment.
Why should you be the conduit when it comes to Mr. Matlala proving that he has made payments? Doesn't make sense at all. Why must you suddenly be the conduit? They have an existing business relationship. Mr. Matlala buys the meat there directly without your involvement. Is it so that that's without your involvement?
That's correct.
So why now, when he pays his debts, does he have to give the proof of payment to you for you to forward to Osizweni? Doesn't make sense, Brigadier. Think of something better than that.
In most of the time, when I will have queried him to pay his debts, he will pay them and send me a proof of payment to say, I've honored my debts.
I will tell you why you are saying this. Commissioner Baloyi engaged you on you saying you got it, thank you very much, and then the thank you emojis as well. And you said you actually did not get the money. Now you foresee, having gone through the bank statements, you foresee that you are going to be questioned by the evidence leaders and possibly the commissioners as well on why there would have been a payment in January of 2025, there would have been a payment in April of 2025, there would have been another payment in March of 2025, all of which are 100,000 rand each. So you foresee that it does not make sense for Mr. Matlala to continue paying into this account when you actually do not receive the payments, and you come up with this story that he owed money to Osizweni.
And perhaps something to think about, especially for those who are still yet to come before the Commission of Inquiry for Phase 2, is being mindful of lying under oath, because it does have a weighty consequence.
Last question. If we were to call Mudiekhi to this commission and ask her about these payments, and if she confirms that you did get the payments, what should this commission do with your evidence on this point and the rest of your evidence? Remember, I qualified it with if. If we call Mudiekhi to come and give evidence and she confirms that you got these payments, what should this commission do with your evidence on this point and on all the other issues?
I guess I must be charged because I lied under oath.
It was also interesting to note that on a day when the Labour Court was going to make a pronouncement on whether or not he could get his job back, former National Police Commissioner Khawula Phahlane's name came up at the Madlanga inquiry. At the commission, they heard from Brigadier Majen about how Phahlane was keen to meet with Vusumuzi Cat Matlala.
On 2025-03-25, I received a message from JK that I must tell Mr. Matlala that they must reschedule their meeting to later or the next day. Then I forwarded the message as received and asked him to respond to JK. He then responded directly to JK and sent me a screenshot. It is through our social engagement circle that Mr. Matlala met JK. The transparent social relationship has never been concealed, thus I knew and had this occasional communication. They on few occasions met during lunch or early dinner meeting at a specific restaurant convenient to them. Thus the reference, same spot. As and when they were meeting, room was when he wanted to meet Mr. Matlala, JK will request that I inform or arrange, because he knows that I have regular contact with Mr. Matlala or will personally see him.
And of course, on Thursday, the Labour Court dismissing Phatlane's bid, and so he won't be returning back at the helm here at the SAPS headquarters, at least in Silverton. All right, in a moment when we come back, we will take you through Witness F's testimony. Oh boy, he had a lot to say. The name of the late Deputy President, D.D. Mabuza, coming up. Fikile Mbalula not also being spared, but also the name of Musa Khawula. You don't want to miss that. Stay tuned. Thanks for staying with us. So this week, the Madlanga Commission also probed WhatsApp exchanges between Witness F and several individuals, including Vusmuzi Kat Matlala, and a phone number saved under Comrade Didi Mabuza. Now, proceedings got off to a rocky start on Tuesday morning, with the officer notifying the inquiry of their urgent court bid to postpone their testimony, citing possible self-incrimination after being named in President Cyril Ramaphosa's statement last Thursday, where he named those who've been referred for further investigation and possible prosecution. Now, Witness F, who is attached to the office of suspended Deputy National Commissioner Shedrick Sibia and the Crime Detection Unit, is accused of being a middleman and a runner between the two. Now, his lawyers wanted to delay the proceedings after they claimed that the new evidence that they got time to peruse over the weekend also raised some issues around how the WhatsApp messages had been extrapolated.
So the manner in which the charts were downloaded and extrapolated from his phone leaves much to be desired, which appears to be a violation in terms of how the evidence is being presented, because it doesn't show the messages that are forwarded. It doesn't show that he received it as being forwarded to him, but it shows as if he's now the originator. And some key people or chats that he had with other people are not included in that. And I quite understand that the evidence leader said there were certain messages that are not of interest. But for a consistency basis, in particular, he's been much more in communication with one particular general and as opposed to the other. And the things that they were discussing with the other are not included. That shows a wrong narrative or misplaced the whole view of the situation. And as a result, it was my clients obtained a legal opinion from 2 SCs, senior counsels, who then are the ones that are currently working on the application in the High Court, with a junior counsel based in Durban. These had to have took place as a matter of one day, having to go through this thing. And it is on that basis that if he is to come before this commission, whatever he says may not change, because of before he could make the first statement, an interim report was made. Before he could even appear, the president has already accepted that. So whatever he comes here and says may not change the narrative, and more likely that he will incriminate himself.
So Witness F's lawyers claimed that their clients, now that they've been mentioned to be investigated by the soon-to-be constituted Special Investigations Task Team, that they were no longer just a witness, but now an accused.
We obviously gave the client a legal advice in light of the Zuma case, and I'm quite aware that the commissioner is quite vested with that case, if not that participate in that case. And we had to distinguish between the rights of an accused as opposed to the rights of a witness, because you could not invoke the right to remain silent because he's not an accused in here, he's actually a witness. But as a witness that is already being charged, is more likely to incriminate himself, which now prejudice his rights, and hence the focus in terms of that is the Section 35, subsection 3 rights that could be violated.
But as was anticipated, there was pushback from the commissioners about the strength of the latest attempt to halt the proceedings.
I'm looking at the president's statement here, and I want you to tell me where the President says this witness must be charged. Because you're attributing to the President and to this commission things that are not said anywhere, and you're using them as a basis for a postponement application and a High Court application. I will read for you what the President said in his statement. The Commission has said there's prima facie evidence of wrongdoing, and referrals are made in respect of these people. But you making an application on the basis that there's a criminal case and somebody has been charged. But there's no basis for that. Because wrongdoing could be HR related, could have nothing to do with criminal proceedings. So don't attribute to the President statements he did not make. That's the first point. The second point is, if your entire argument is taken to its logical conclusion, especially in relation to the privilege or the right against self-incrimination, it means your client will never testify in this commission, because even in 6 months' time, there will still be a concern about self-incrimination, which means he should never come here and he should never take part in this commission, and we should just forget about it, because that's the logical conclusion.
Isn't that the problem? You don't know what wrongdoing has been identified. You have absolutely no idea. Absolutely not. Maybe the wrongdoing is that he exceeded the speed limit on Rivonia Road. You have absolutely no facts to base yourself on to say whatever he's going to be saying about these WhatsApp messages in the 4,500 pages will be self-incriminating. You have absolutely no basis. You haven't seen the report. You don't know what that report says about your client or this witness. You have absolutely no idea. And so you have no basis whatsoever to say anything at all that he's going to be saying here is self-incrimination. As I say, and I say it without meaning to be flippant, but to make the point that it could be that the wrongdoing that causes the President to order an investigation against him is he exceeded the speed limit. You don't know. You have no basis. This is really, honestly, a fact-devoid application. You may want to argue the legal point.
All right, so after a short adjournment, that application was dismissed. In fact, Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga quoting Section 6 of the Commissions Act, Regulation 81, as well as a means to actually justify that. And so once proceedings did get underway, Chief Evidence Leader Matthew Charles-Gilson then began to lead evidence regarding the WhatsApp messages between witness F and Matlala. And in these exchanges, it appears that Matlala purchased Impala for Sibia, and the officer, that being witness F, was facilitating where these animals should be dropped off with the farm manager where the animals would be fetched from. And despite the evidence presented, witness F denies introducing Sibia and Matlala to each other.
I'm interested in a chat or message that you sent to Kat Matlala on the 4th of March 2024 at 8:21. You sent a contact card, and at Annexure 9, Annexure to Exhibit Bundle, page 9, that contact card is exhibited, and it is a contact card for General Sibia with a phone number of General Sibia. And the question I would ask you now, and if you want to assert your right of privilege against self-incrimination, you must do so, is did you introduce Kat Matlala to General Sibia?
No.
And a voice note was played from a person saved on Witness F's phone as Rudy Farm Manager, in which they're asking for a location pin for where the Impala were meant for Sibia were to be delivered. And in this audio recording, it was forwarded to Witness F by Matlala, and it again tests this theory of the relationship between Sibia and Matlala, but also that Witness F was always acting as a conduit.
So that's the same voice note. It's the unknown man asking you to send a pin drop or asking someone to send a pin drop where the Impalas must go to. And that voice note was forwarded to you by Mr. Matlala, and you have immediately forwarded it on to General Sibia. Can we then go to the next chat on page 214, and it's a message from you to General Sibia 29 seconds later at 07:25:24, and you say, "Morning, it's from Cat." Then the next chat is at 8:39, still on page 214, and it is a call from General Sibia to you, a voice call on WhatsApp. If we then go back to page 49, we see that there are a series of calls between yourself and Mr. Matlala from 9:48:50 through to 9:53:24.
And so in these WhatsApp messages, things get very interesting because, as Chaskelson pointed out, at some stage, it seems that Witness F was sending veiled threats to Shedrick Sibia in August 2025, where he now resent this very same voice note from Rudy, the farm manager, and it is clearly something that the Commission was interested in, because if you look at the timelines, it would seem that this was after that now controversial July 6th briefing by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi.
I had a theory as to why you might have wanted to send it to him more than a year after the event, and I'm going to put it to you. And you must feel free to answer it as you see fit. It occurred to me that by August 2025, General Sibia might have thought that it was convenient for him to try to make you a fall guy for some of the things that you had done for him previously, and that you were sending him this audio just to remind him that if you fell, he fell too. What's your comment on that?
I can't comment on that, Commissioners.
But you can't offer any reason why you would have sent this voice note in two separate messages to two different numbers of General Sibia in August 2025 when it was originally sent in March 2024.
To be honest with you, I can't remember why did I send him, but I tend to differ on your version where you say you are bringing to me that maybe General Sibia was blackmailing me on saying something else. Then as a result, I've sent that note saying, if you fall, I fall. By the time that thing was sent to me, I did not know what was it for. I did not expect it. They sent it to me by Mr. Matlala. I sent it to General Sibia.
And at some stage, the testimony got more explosive, especially when the name of the late Deputy President, David Dabete Mabuza, was mentioned. So a phone number saved under the late statesman's name appeared on Witness F's contact list, but he denies that he was in contact with Mabuza directly when it came to 750 firearms. In those discussions, there are videos that are exchanged between this person saved as Comrade DD Mabuza and Witness F and the testing of these firearms. Witness F claims that it was Mabuza's nephew with whom he was in contact with, Spiwe Mabuza. But still, Witness F was probed on why they were discussing high-caliber weapons and who were the intended buyers.
Do you know him to be in the business of selling guns?
No, I don't know him like that.
So you are approached by a civilian who wants to sell up to 750 units of guns, and he speaks to you. Somehow he's got the confidence to speak to a police officer about selling guns when he's not in the registered business of selling guns, and you just want to test. You didn't do anything about it. You didn't say, but this is breaking the law. Why is that you don't see this as someone who's breaking the law and then you need to act about it?
According to me and my understanding, in terms of the illegal firearms, there is no way that if those guns were illegal, he could sell each gun by 15,500 because of even in the shop is 15,000 or 13,000. It differs on the brand of a particular firearm. That is the reason I came to conclusion that he might have got them somewhere or bought them somewhere in bulk. He wants to sell them or to venture into business of some sort. But I did not verify with him because I did not see a point to verify with him. I assumed at that particular time that he was trying to venture into another business.
And another name that was mentioned in these WhatsApp messages is that of Steve Mutsumi, who's the owner of Bazwimi Security Services. Now, he's a man who's deemed to be dangerous, at least not by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. And the messages that he'd sent to Witness F, when you recall that they were read out as a part of why Witness F did not want to appear before the commission. But in these messages, Witness F appears to be organizing a meeting between Mutsumi and Sibiya.
What were you organizing a meeting between General Sibiya and Mr. Mutsumi about? What were they meeting about?
Now, as you explain like this, I tend to understand it better, commissioners. I was not arranging the meeting for Mr. Mutsumi and General Sibiya. I was passing a message from General Sibiya to Mr. Mutsumi, where General Sibiya wanted to meet Mr. Mutsumi. When I'm referring to them, it's not them as in them, it's them as an African culture. Ubaba siti abu baba. That's in English because of in African culture. So them, maybe I just say them because I refer him as Abu Baba. So that is the reason I was referring to that as them. But I confirm that there was a meeting that was scheduled by General Sibia to Mr. Mutsumi.
All right, so when we come back, we'll continue with more explosive testimony from witness F. It would seem that all those tweets from Musa Khawula got ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula so hot under the collar that it warranted political pressure from someone like Deputy Police Minister Matlala, who wanted Khawula in handcuffs, and a businessman named Zengumalo also being thrown in there. Lots to talk about on that and other parts of that testimony in just a moment. Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching a wrap of the proceedings that took place this week at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. So, in his second day of testimony, witness F told the commissioners about the political pressure that the now suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shedrick Sibia faced to ensure that controversial social media and some would say gossiper Musa Khawula was nabbed. Now, witness F also explained that part of the reason why Khawula had to be arrested was because he insulted ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula and an influential businessman by the name Zengumalo.
He mentioned me that he's getting a pressure from the high office. High office, the office of the deputy minister, is getting a pressure from there. I then asked the Deputy National Commissioner, what is so important about this charge? Because according to me, there is no sense of agency. He said this guy insulted a member of parliament. He told me now, the member that he created crime against is Mr. Fikile Mbalula, the secretary of the ANC. The other one is Mr. Z.
So witness F then goes on to tell the commission about how he was then mandated on the weekend of the 19th of October to go and apprehend Khawula. So then he called up his friend in the Hawks, Captain Faleni Zungu, to accompany him on this particular mission, which then prompted the evidence leader and the commissioners to ask just how much of a threat is this Musa Khawula?
Mr. Khawula is a blogger. Do you know that?
I don't know.
Does Mr. Khawula present a physical threat to anybody that you're aware of? A physical threat as opposed to a threat to their dignity.
Physically, no.
Because it does seem a bit of an overreaction to arrive to arrest a blogger by engaging the Hawks, calling a detective who's out riding on the weekend to go and do it immediately, to drop his bike and come and do it. Did you not think that this was a bit excessive?
Thank you, commissioners. I did not call a Hawks because of the manner of office that he holds. I called him because he's a person that is known to me, and he's not staying far from where I stay. So I saw it's so convenient that because of it's a weekend, let me try him. He might be available. Indeed, he was available.
And the timelines then become very interesting because after not being able to find Khawula on that particular Saturday, Witness F then forwarded this warrant of arrest to Vusumuzi Matlala on the Monday of the 21st of October.
On that day when the operation was conducted, we did not find Mr. Khawula. 2, I sent this warrant to Mr. Matlala because, according to him, wherever he goes, usually he sees Mr. Khawula. So it was user-friendly for him. When he sees him, he executes the warrant, called the nearest police station, or called me.
And so, once again, Witness F was chastised for sharing internal SAPS communication with an outsider like Matlala.
Is Mr. Matlala a peace officer?
No, it's not, Commissioners.
Okay, so this warrant instructs peace officers to arrest Mr. Khawula when they see him. On what basis would you have sent this to Mr. Matlala with the expectation that he would arrest when he sees Mr. Khawula? Because this warrant doesn't authorize a civilian to do that.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm sending him on the basis of when he sees him, he must just hold him there, a citizen arrest, then call the police and present such warrant to the police that, hey, I've arrested this person, here is the warrant. It was on those bases. Commissioners?
You accept that this warrant itself, that you send to him so that he arrests him when he sees him, you accept that on the face of it, this warrant does not authorize Mr. Matlala to arrest Mr. Khawula. And I can read it for you under the second part of it, in the second part of it, with the heading warrant of arrest. It says to all peace officers authorized to execute warrants of arrest. That's what the warrant says on the face of it. Can you accept that on the face of it, he doesn't have the authority because he's not a peace officer?
And what became abundantly clear and perhaps even startling, to say the least, is that Vusumuzi Matlala had access to the country's top generals within the South African Police Service for reasons that remain unknown at this time.
You mentioned a series of generals who Mr. Matlala would come to meet at police headquarters, or who you saw him coming to meet, and one of them was General Fani. Is that F-A-N-I?
I think so, Commissioner.
And General Fani is in charge of police procurement, is he not?
That's correct.
And he sat on the committee that awarded the tender to Mr. Matlala, did he not?
That's correct.
So then it was time for the Commission to turn its attention to the issue around why Witness F was in possession of Vusumuzi Matlala's bank card for a substantial amount of time. He testified that Matlala, who was the head of security at Jotham Mswazi Msibi's Hammanskraal farm, had actually given him this banker card to go and fix one of Mswazi's jet skis. Now, Witness F also admitted that Mswazi was like a father to him and had raised him.
Apart from advances in relation to repairs of his boat and his jet ski, or the jet ski that he was using, have you taken payments from Mr. Matlala?
No, but I can maybe put to the attention of the Commission that There was a time where Mr. Matlala wanted a convoy of motorbikes to a wedding in Mamelodi. So he asked me as a biker to arrange few of my friends to accompany him and entertain the crowd there in the wedding in Mamelodi. I remember at that time I gave him a petrol prize from my friends. It was around per bike 2,000, 2,500, of which he required 6 bikes at that time. So that is the only time that I remember.
Lots of questions being asked about that 20,000 rand transfer that was made by Matlala to Witness F's bank accounts, which he claims was for getting those motorbikes. But his testimony, Witness F that is, was shortened on Wednesday when he fell ill and needed to go see a doctor. So he'll be returning to the Commission of Inquiry on the 16th and 17th of February. All right, we're going to take another short break and we're going to hear about the ballistics testimony regarding Aman Swart's murder, and then Sulaiman Karim, the man who's accused of having received 1.5 million rand for actually investing in Matlala's SAPS Medicare tender. All of that on the other side of this. Welcome back. And the murder of Vereniging engineer Aman Swart came back into sharp focus at the inquiry on Monday. Now, senior South African Police Service ballistics expert Captain Lawrence Itumeleng Makgatwe took the stand, where he accused the investigators in the Swart assassination of kidnapping and intimidating him. Now, Makgatwe was responding to claims that he deliberately sabotaged the ballistics report and misguided the investigation into the firearms used in Swart's killing, which was ultimately linked to 30 other cases. Junior Kumalo has that aspect of that story.
Senior ballistic expert Captain Itumeleng Makgatwe has made startling claims that he was kidnapped and intimidated by officers investigating the murder of Vereniging engineer Aman Swart. As the ballistic expert in the Swart case, Makgatwe claimed that investigating officers who included members of the KZN Political Killings Task Team kidnapped him in January last year. He told the commission that the investigating officers suspected he may have intentionally sabotaged the ballistic test and as such forcefully took him to his office in a bid to confiscate his work computer.
I opened a case of kidnapping on 8 January 2025, which is currently being handled by Independent Police Investigative Directorate, IPID. I stand by the fact that I was kidnapped as I did not give the officers permission to take me anywhere and was forcefully taken by Witness B's team.
Witness B, a crime intelligence officer and lead investigator in the case, told a different story during her testimony in October last year. She claimed that Makgatwe's actions appeared deliberate and were intended to derail investigations.
At the latest, much later stage, I think this year, 5 August, it's only when now the very same Captain Makgatwe gave us a link, a report that is having most of what he alluded then. So somehow, when I look at it, I feel like there is deliberate delays intended in the investigation.
On the same day of Swart's murder, on the 17th of April 2024, Makgatwe had attended the scene in Vereniging and collected ballistic evidence as exhibits for further examination. On the same day, the accused were arrested in Bramley and linked to the Swart shooting. Guns and ammunition seized at the Bramley case were also later handed to Mahotre, and therein lay the challenge according to witness B's testimony. She claimed that Mahotre failed to link these guns not only to the Swart killing, but to 30 other cases, despite a second opinion from a KZN ballistics test confirming this. Mahotre reiterated that the mistakes in the ballistics reports and subsequent amendments that did not follow protocol were not intentional.
As I already indicated, commissioners, that the errors will arise time to time as long as there is still pressure at the lab. The errors will always be there because we push quantities, not quality.
Having heard Mahotre and the investigating officer's claims, the commission will now have to decide on whether his actions amounted to honest mistakes or attempts to impede an ongoing case. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I'm Junior Kumalo in Pretoria.
And while the Commission continued with its work this week in the South Gauteng High Court, ANC member and Northwest businessman Sulaiman Karim was in court on an urgent basis to ensure that he does not appear before this inquiry. Now, Karim's legal team claims the judicial body has demonstrated a pattern of bias, prompting their clients to seek an urgent interdict. And the Commission, on the other hand, argued that the Commission's own rules provided a remedy through Rule 11, which permits an implicated party to apply and cross-examine witnesses that implicate them. But on Thursday, the courts struck this matter off the urgent court's roll with a cost. And so on Friday, Sulaiman was on the stand, albeit for a short while, because his lawyers brought a postponement application, this time before the Commission of Inquiry itself. This was not opposed by the evidence leader. All right, so this is where we end things off this evening on the week that's been at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry. In another part of the capital, the new National Director of Public Prosecutions and the National Police Commissioner held a briefing. So that Special Investigations Task Team beginning its work in earnest next week. Hopefully we'll have the names of those who are going to be carrying such an important task. But for now, it's goodbye from me here at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College. Thank you for watching.